urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And I'm gonna stay from the jump. I don't know how long or short this video is going to be. This is just me coming off the cuff. But collectively, I want everybody to just take a deep breath. Just relax. It's not that deep. I've been seeing a lot of comments and the overall sentiment of the community, and people have been clutching their pearls and, dare I say, tripping a little bit. Just chill. We know Phil has no idea how to sustain success. You know, his solution to all his problems is just to beg more. And we know based on his history with getting boost in viewership and or income that at some point he's going to squander it. You can go back and look at the quartering interview, which I believe was a softball interview, much like the Asmongold one. Didn't do much for him in the long term. You can go to the side scrollers, which I think was probably the best interview that anybody has ever done on him. And nothing much came from that either. And then you can fast forward to the Kino Casino arc, and he managed to squander that as well because that's what he does. All right. So even though he's experiencing some form of short-term success, it's really about the long run. A lot of people right now are looking at this whole thing like it's an NFL playoff game, like it's win or go home. And it's not. It's more akin to the NBA finals, where you have to win a series of games to actually win whatever the prize is. So did he win the battle? Sure. But long term, will he win the war? I don't think so. So let me give you my thoughts on this so-called interview, so-called conversation. Realistically speaking, I think it was a joke. And it started off halfway decent. I don't think at any point was it strong or was he actually challenging Phil in any real way. But the second they started talking about Twitch, it completely went downhill from there. And it never really got back on the rails at that point. And my question for Asmongold is, why even post on your Reddit questions you would like people to ask him if you're not going to ask him? All Phil did was obfuscate and give you a ton of background information that was completely unnecessary, like he always does. And it appears to me that Asmongold fell for it. Now, I might have misjudged Asmongold a little bit. I thought that he was a lot sharper than he actually appears to be. And I'm sure in his lane, he is sharp. But when it comes to Phil, it's just surface level stuff. And he has no real knowledge of Phil. And that's very obvious. And what Phil was able to do was use that ignorance, put on his mask and his best acting shoes, and play a part. And for the most part, a lot of people fell for it. Now, just like PPP said, you may not fully understand why people have this issue with Phil, but if you continue to watch long enough, at some point it's going to click and then you'll understand. Now, are things jolly for him now? Sure. It's always jolly when he's making money, but the second things start to dry up, the mask will slip. It will. So it doesn't matter how many subs he got. It doesn't matter how much money he made. And I want to create this distinction. Okay. The money that came in is money that he generated, but it's not money that he made. And I say that because even though he generated all that money, where is that money really going to go? Is it going to go to elevating his quality of life or even his wife quality of life? No, it's going to go into Scopely. It's going to go to Jen. It's going to go to DoorDash. He's going to indulge even further in his pleasures. And as long as Phil has this gambling addiction, he's never going to break this cycle. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at him. It's not a big deal. And this is why I say Craig from Side Scrollers actually was thorough. He did a really good job. But I think he was coming at it from a different perspective. He was using DSP to launch his new career or the new space that he was in. But for Asmongold, this was essentially a side quest. I think he was just doing Phil a solid, right? Because I think a part of Asmongold likes to believe that he's morally right and it was the right thing to do, right? Yeah, I'm talking about him. He reached out to me. The least I can do is talk to the guy. So based on that alone, based on the numbers, we know that Phil was going to get an influx. It always happens. What it's about is if he can sustain it, right? So like I said before, I don't think that this is anything to be in a tizzy about. I can understand how some people in the moment might be a little bit upset, but realistically speaking, I think you need to get over that, man. because we know what Phil's going to do. He's a creature of habit, and he's going to revert to those habits like he's always done. You know, I think realistically speaking, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe even a month, and it will be back to business as usual. Now, the interesting thing about that is he won't be able to blame him not being able to sustain this audience and or revenue on it being quote unquote Keno Casino holdovers, right? Now, after the interview with Asmongold, he said that this was the best interview he's ever had. He got a fair shake, yada, 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 similar to what he did with the side scrollers, right? So when things begin to dry up, he won't have nobody to blame but himself. Man just said just the other day that he's finally thinking about what people want to see. And in his mind, he believes people want to see him talk. He thinks that showing up alone is enough. That's just what he believes. He believes as long as I have perfect attendance, then I should just pass. So I say, man, a lot of you are already familiar with his antics and his ways. So in this particular situation, all you got to do is just be patient. That's it. You already know how this is going to end. So there's no point of really getting upset about all of this, man. It's not. Now, did I expect more from the interview? I did. I thought Asmongold was going to use his team of researchers or whatever to dive deep into the lore. I did know that based on the time that he had interacted with him, I thought he knew more than what he did. I really did. But it became very apparent to me from the onset that he didn't have any real knowledge of Phil, not enough to truly interview him. It just wasn't. I mean, in the beginning, it seemed like some form of an interview, but as soon as they got to the whole Twitch thing, it turned into a conversation, a boring one at that. You know, I kind of had it on as background noise just in case anything noteworthy happened, but nothing really happened, you know? So I'm saying all that to say this. Take a deep breath, give it about 3 weeks, a month, or whatever it is, and it'll be back to business as usual, man. And I'll also say this. What Phil did is what he was supposed to do. Phil was supposed to go in there and try to perpetuate a narrative and save face and make it seem like he's the victim. And when you go to Asmongold's comments, because he posted the video on YouTube, a lot of people are seeing Phil as the victim, right? But this happens a lot. Like when you look at domestic violence cases, oftentimes the person that calls is actually the one that's committing the domestic violence, right? But since their story gets out there first, it takes some time for the cream to rise to the crop, so to speak. It takes a little bit of time for the dust to settle on these things a lot of times. So like I said before, man, just be patient. It's not that deep. And at the end of the day, all this shit is a bunch of internet nonsense that we just having fun with, or we should be having fun with. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.